Hi and welcome to my next book review. Today I'm going to be talking about The Yoga of Herbs by Dr. David Frawley and Vasant Lad. This book is written by Dr. David Frawley and Vasant Lad. I have already spoken about how great I think Vasant Lad is. Dr. David Frawley is another very good Ayurvedic scholar that delivers the information in a very profound way. So I absolutely love the way he describes certain concepts, and he's able to put words to things that you couldn't even think about, like in such an eloquent and descriptive way. So in overview, this book is very good for the knowledge of Ayurvedic plants, but not just Ayurvedic plants. It expresses knowledge about many different types of Western herbs too, but he explains them according to Ayurvedic principles. In overview, this book has a very comprehensive beginning section that talks you through the concept of Ayurveda, about plants and the Ayurvedic herbal energetics, as he calls it. And then it goes deep into the different types of therapeutic plants available, the Ayurvedic plants, and also the Western herbs that are the equivalent. So my personal experience with this book was that first I found it on an online thing, and I was learning about plants, and I saw that this has a very good section at the back that goes through the plants, and you can learn about which energetics it has. What actually struck me the most when I first got the book was that the beginning section has a very beautiful way of talking about plants and their expression of consciousness. Talks about the plants in their Ayurvedic perspective in a way that we might not have already been aware of. So he uses vocabulary and teaches the vocabulary that we use to understand how plants work in an Ayurvedic way, which are very different to the way that we understand how plants work now. So this is very useful for people that are trying to understand the concept of Ayurveda but are still having difficulty to see it from that perspective, because you have to understand that in Ayurveda it views the world very differently. So in terms of how a plant works, it's going to be very different from how we understand it already. So the really good points about this book are the beginning section, which talks about plants as consciousness, the different types of how we understand plants Ayurvedically. So he has beautiful diagrams of how different parts of a plant express are the equivalent of different dhatus, the plants and their ojas, the prana that's existence in plants, and their qualities too. And then the second part goes into the different types of Ayurvedic medicine that's available, so how we use those plants. And then it goes into the herbal energetics, about how these plants work according to Ayurveda. The herbal therapeutics section in this book is very good because you understand how these herbs can be classified into working within the body. Depending if you want the plant to purify the blood, depending if you want it to balance hormones, depending if you want it to have a cleansing effect, depending if you want it to have a rejuvenating effect, the Ayurvedic plants, or plants in general, can be classified into these sections. So this helped me immensely in understanding the concept of diagnosing and treating in Ayurveda. He really has a good way of explaining it, because when you understand how the plant works in the body, you also understand a little bit more about the disease process itself, or what's happening to that particular dosha in the body. So I would say that the knowledge on how the plants work for varying disorders really helped me to understand the treatment and disease process in Ayurveda indirectly too. And then towards the back, it's got a really lovely section on all the plants, and it gives you the botanical name, the plant, the parts used, the herbal energetics, the tissues it affects, how to take it, and then just a little bit about the plant in general. And then at the back, he goes into more Ayurvedic herbs that aren't found so commonly in the West. It's got a lovely table in there of all the plants, as you can see, and their potency. So I would really recommend this book for practitioners if you're on that journey. What's something interesting actually is don't be put off by the word yoga when it says yoga of herbs. It's nothing to do with the asana yoga. It's yoga, when we use it in Ayurveda, it means a union of how the plant works in the body. So it's the coming together and the union of the herb with your being, basically. So that's why it's called the yoga of herbs, a very traditional way to use that word, and it's lovely that it's brought out in this book. I would highly recommend this book, as I said, for practitioners. If you're a beginner in Ayurveda, yes, it does provide a little bit of a background at the beginning, but you might get a bit confused with the plants if you don't have a background on how the body works quite a bit. By all means, if you're into the more botanical side and you're into herbal medicine, but you're not sure or if you don't know that much about Ayurveda, then this could be a beginner's guide for you in that sense too. But I would highly recommend this for practitioners and students on the journey, because the plants in there and the knowledge on the plants is ever so useful, and it can really solidify your learning. So one thing that this book doesn't have is so many home remedies on how to use the plants as such. There definitely is knowledge on how to treat in certain disease states, but in terms of home remedies, it's not so clear cut. There is a small appendix at the back on first aid in Ayurveda, and then there are sprinkles of the wisdom and knowledge on how to use them in terms of using home remedies too in there. If you read it, you will find it. However, it's not so clear cut. But in terms of knowledge, what this does is it gives you the knowledge about the plants, and then you can use your own awareness and application of that knowledge to then take forward in your own life and your own healing. So this book is very special to me because I really, really love learning about plants, and it just fascinates me the way that Ayurveda classifies plants and substances. It just makes complete sense to me, and I wouldn't be understanding Ayurveda and helping people with it as much if it wasn't for this book. So thank you, Dr. Frawley and Vasant Lad, for creating it. It truly is a gift to the world to be able to correlate Ayurvedic principles with some Western herbs too, and just to really have documented the powerful effect of Ayurvedic herbs. So good luck if you're going to have a read of this, and I hope it helps you on your journey too. And look out for my next book review, and I'll see you next time.